As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
I asked y'all a few videos back on whether or not y'all thought Trump misspoke when he said the migrants are taking the black jobs. Cause see, when he said it, we got to making jokes all over the internet, everybody trying to figure out what a black job is, and you may be about to find out. Whatever job is available for your black ass when that smoke clears, guess what that is? Mike, guess what that is? See, we were joking about the black jobs because that's what we do. We joke about everything. But what a lot of us fail to realize is Trump is from a different era. When he was born, there were black jobs. When he went to grade school, there were black jobs. When he went to college, there were black jobs. And even though the EEOC was established by then, for much of his young to mid-adulthood, there were black jobs, as a lot of companies were very slow to consider us for high-paying positions or positions of leadership. When we were employed, we got the bottom of the barrel. Back of the house, cooks, dishwashers, and porters. The help, butlers, nannies, and housekeepers. The dirty shit, sanitation and janitorial. Simply put, the shit they didn't want to do, so they didn't mind seeing us doing it. The best position available to most of us back in the day was working at the plant. But over the last 30 or so years, we have advanced into not only the skilled positions that they used to walk off the job over us getting, but we're in every field, in every level, including every level of management. Today, you can see a black face all across the United States in a position that was once reserved for white males. And for much of these 30 years, the economy has been good. And even when it hasn't, the cost of living has been affordable. The only thing that really fluctuated was gas prices. And every now and then, a food item would spike, but not the whole damn grocery store. But up until 2019, you could buy a house with 2 modest incomes. You could certainly afford to buy a dozen eggs. But today, it doesn't matter what field you're in. It feels like nothing is affordable. $30 an hour used to be a livable wage. Now, you can barely scrape by off of it. You really need 100 racks to keep your head above water, when 5 years ago, 50 would do. The inflation we have experienced has made it to where there is now a scarcity of jobs that provide a livable wage. And that's where the problem lies. Because up until the 1990s, they would hold next to all of these positions. And I've already gone over the history of what used to happen before affirmative action and why these DEI initiatives were implemented. So if you're unaware, check that out. But Trump didn't attack these laws and initiatives that were aimed at providing opportunities for marginalized communities during his first term. And it certainly had nothing to do with him trying to gain our vote. It was simply because the economy was doing well. White men weren't upset about the jobs we had because they were doing well. They were just happy to see an old familiar face return to that Oval Office. The affordability of basic necessities is a problem that many of them never had until recently. Now they're all across the suburbs eating top ramen and bar S. They like, hold on, this ain't right. And just like with hard drug use, shit has to hit their communities before something is done about it. Partly because they Ray Charles to shit that negatively affects other communities. But the main reason why things change when they negatively affect white communities is because, to answer Charlemagne's question of, what do white people do? They take meaningful action. The election of Donald Trump in 2016 was no accident. It was bitter white America's response to Barack Obama being president for 8 years. If John McCain was president for 8 years, or if Obama lost to Mitt Romney in 2012, Donald Trump would not have been elected. He'd be on the 21st season of The Apprentice. His lack of professionalism and presidential decorum would have been off-putting to most white Americans. But because they were emotionally charged, his message, and more importantly, his unapologetic approach, is what a lot of them wanted to hear. And instead of doing what we do and say, oh man, presidents is selected, not elected. Don't vote, your vote don't count. They said, all right, cool. You stay right there. We gonna go select who we want. They utilized the power of their collective vote and got someone who wasn't even a politician elected to the highest office in the land. Then when he lost his re-election bid to Joe Biden and they felt like it was stolen from him, They didn't walk down the street peacefully protesting, singing "We Shall Overcome." They rallied and stormed the Capitol. Their actions spoke for them. Their actions said, if we don't get what we want, we'll burn this bitch down. And because they have a history of burning shit down, they had to be taken seriously. Because traditionally, they respond to conflict with rifles. And even though they didn't do that this time, history tells us it's just a matter of time. Because of this, preventing white America from reaching its boiling point became priority number one for the Republican Party. So the very first thing that Donald Trump had to do was address the desires of white American men who've always read their history books from a vantage point of superiority, but aren't liking the story being written today for tomorrow's history. Not only are their jobs not paying a livable wage, but many of them have to show up to work and work under the direction of Keisha. And we know that bothers them more than anything. Yeah, we seen it out here in Henderson with the police chief a few years back. Got that black woman out of there quick. The theme across the board, but what none of them will come out and publicly say, is they are tired of seeing your black ass in leadership positions. They want them positions back, and they will invoke any measure necessary to make that happen. This is why you've seen all of these attacks on DEI programs following the election results, and why Donald Trump has entered office signing executive orders ending DEI programs across the government. Yeah, while some of us are steadily trying to assimilate to their culture, seeking acceptance, seeking equality, they are steadily trying to maintain their dominance over you. They don't want to see you atop of anything but a motherfucking stage. Now dance, nigga. But in order to keep the peace, old Nucky Trumpson had to make some moves that let white men know they're being heard and that something is being done about their issues so they don't go out there and tear shit up. But there's a reason why all of these actions eliminating DEI are coinciding with mass deportations. It's part of a big shuffle that's happening now to maintain order at a later point. I played that clip at the beginning because it's important to remember why the black jobs phrase was brought up to begin with. Trump was speaking about the border crisis, how many migrants were being let in, trying to let us know what's coming. From purely a survival standpoint, black Americans should be in support of the mass deportation of illegal immigrants because there is a migrant that you're not paying attention to, but it's all around you. It's moved into your workspace. It's in your social settings. It's in your own home. It's called artificial intelligence, AI. And we're not talking about practice. Has taken so many jobs, and it's not even the beginning. The amount of unemployment that will be upon us will be staggering. There are so many industries that are going to be affected by this. And while they're taking our jobs, and make no mistake, that's what they're trying to do. They have to make sure we have a landing spot because they don't want to see the boiling point of black America either. As I talked about in the last video, we are docile. Why wouldn't they want to keep it that way? Why would they want to give us something to wake up, unite, and fight for when we've settled into our roles as second-class citizens? We're comfortable following them wherever they lead us. We'll gladly accept any crumbs they drop. We continue to judge everything in our lives based off the measures they put forth. We are the closest thing to a human fucking pet that anyone will find. Why would they want to fuck that up? But some of us need this wake-up call that we're about to get. I hate the fact that you got to touch that stove to know that it's hot, but I do believe it'll be better for you in the long run. See, there's a lot of us who unknowingly benefited from these policies, and we speak against them because we didn't live in a time where black men and women couldn't get a job they were qualified for. We act like it wasn't their work that got us in the door. Fuck working there. We wouldn't even be able to step foot in some of these doors 60 years ago. See, everybody will talk that DEI being discriminatory against white men shit, but they won't speak of why affirmative action and DEI programs were implemented in the first place. They quiet as fuck on that. But no matter what Trump signs, it's still up to the people, the hiring managers, the company directors to do what they want to do. Walmart came out immediately and said they were ending their DEI programs. Costco said we ain't changing shit. We're about to find out just how far this country has come, or just how good some of these poker faces are. But either way, you gonna learn. Oh yeah, you gonna learn, Trey. That's all I have to say about it. The entire purpose of this essay was for you to see the difference in outcomes when you take meaningful action versus the bullshit that we do.